Hello and welcome back to this tale of Cloud and Misty as they venture through the magical realms and discover all new things and also rediscover things they thought they knew but in a completely different way. Today we will be following Misty, joined by Cloud thanks to their new gateways that they've discovered, as they venture through the capital of Korea, Seoul, and find out a lot of very interesting information about people they thought they knew, people they were even maybe fans of, but who are in fact quite different to what they thought. So, you see, things are a bit difficult to explain when you need to put them back into terms everyone understands. And one of the most complicated things to explain is, of course, when people think they know things, but what they think they know is in fact not only incorrect, but also extremely different to reality. In this specific case, Misty is a huge fan of a very popular Korean band, boys band, K-pop band. I won't name them now, but you will very easily guess who they are later. And for the first time ever, she took Cloud to a very nice place for her, and a place that he doesn't necessarily see the point of. She took him to the headquarters of the agency that governs over this specific band. Now, you might be wondering, at what point is this mythical and magical? Well, it gets there, and it gets there very, very fast. You see, every fan has a dream, and that dream is to meet your favorite celebrity, in person, of course. And honestly, this never happens to 99.9% of people. But on the off chance that it can happen, it's usually governed by many rules and barriers and security guards and so on. It's most certainly not an easy question of walking into them in the street whilst they're filming a clip. And yet, that's what happens. Now you see, I need to backtrack a little bit and remind you a few things. Our two protagonists, Cloud and Misty, are now entirely able to see the mythical world. And not only are they able to see it, they're able to discern the mythical within the real world. Now, of course, this has led them to discover that Post is occasionally sorted by very interesting creatures with many arms, and there's actually very small little gremlins within fax machines that push through the paper and then actually run along the paper with the ink and so on. Although humans believe that it's done all by motors and technology and electronics, well, actually, some of it has to be done manually. And this discovery has kind of led them to question everything. But why would they question, a band? Members of a band specifically. Now, if you're worried, no, they're not trolls or some horrendous creature disguised as beautiful-looking humans. No, in fact, they're even more beautiful in reality. It's just they have to disguise themselves as human so that people wouldn't really question them, and specifically so that people wouldn't discover the reality of their talent. It's not to say that their talent isn't, from birth and that they're just amazing, but it is to say that there's a lot more to it than what people really hear or see. So, back in the present, they're walking down the street, having come off the subway, and, nodding at the cute little elves and, dwarves, nymphs, etc., happen to be around. There's not that many of them, but it's always pleasant to greet the people you see, especially when they know you can see them. But, of course, they still are limited in their understanding of these things, and one of the things they're very limited in is terminology. Names. The names of the characters they're meeting, the names of the creatures they see, and more specifically, just the general names of everything in the magical world. Certainly, they've started learning how to cast minor spells, and how to use gateways, and a few other minor things, but nothing is quite the same as really knowing their environment, and you see that is where they're still quite lacking. Now, you need to understand where they are. They're in probably the most bustling and busy area in the capital, otherwise known as Gangnam, and they're in this area on their way to the famous headquarters of this agency. It's a building on its own, it's very popular, all the fans kind of want to go there, somewhat like a pilgrimage actually. But what a lot of them don't see is the fact that through this bustle of people and just this constant crowd, there are in fact many very interesting creatures walking around as well. I'm not talking centaurs or speaking bears. That would obviously alert the normal humans. But, well-disguised dwarves, well-disguised nymphs, the occasional dryad who, using enough foundation managed to make her skin a bit less green. But what's the most impressive, of course, is when they encounter elves. So what they thought were elves up until now weren't? How interesting. Who are these people? They're taller. Not taller than humans, they're just taller than what they thought were elves. Maybe those were pixies then. These definitely look like elves. Pointy ears, long, luscious hair, smiles that will kill you from a mile away, and just, wow, they're gorgeous. That's surprising. Both Misty and Cloud find themselves looking at each other, wondering who on earth these people are. They're only seeing them from the back, they're kind of following them, in a way, towards the headquarters. But it seems like no one really notices these magnificent people, so clearly they must be mythical in some way, and their disguise, their human form, must be quite different because no one seems to notice it. So they're following them along. They go through the main doors, and these people just, go towards the elevator bank and wait for an elevator. And as it is polite, Cloud and Misty politely greet them. To their surprise, one of them turns around and very politely greets them back and simply says, "Oh, how lovely to meet people that can recognize us in this appearance." And they're both kind of taken aback. "Excuse me, what do you mean recognize you? You are elves, aren't you?" This takes the man aback. He almost jumps backwards as the elevator doors open, nearly pushing over a lady with a handful of papers. And his 6 other friends that are with him seem very troubled. They just simply say, Would you mind coming with us, please? It's nothing bad, don't worry. It's just, this is not talk we can really have on the ground floor." "Of course," says Misty, and she turns to Cloud, and she just nods, and they get into the elevator, and off they go. Little keypad later, very rapid code typing, and they go all the way up to the 14th floor. Then from there, they get onto another elevator, and this time go up to a floor saying penthouse. Wow, there's a penthouse here, that's impressive. When they get to the top, they all walk out, and the 7 beautiful elves turn and look at them and just simply say, "No one has yet discovered our true identity. Can you not see our human form anymore? I mean, you are human, aren't you?" "Yes, we are. We've just been well introduced to the mythical world." "Wow, that's fascinating," says one of them. "It's quite rare that anyone would see us for who we really are. You don't think any less of us, do you?" It's at this moment that Misty starts questioning things and starts realizing, wait, penthouse of this specific building, 7 very nice looking men. She nearly falls over. "Wait, are you the 7 members of the band?" Wow. She can't quite get her words out. She's stuttering. She's really struggling to even, make a full sentence. And as she does, she looks at them and they all just smile and nod. Yes, we are the famous BTS, as many people know us. It's just, of course, this isn't exactly the appearance you're probably used to seeing us under. We use very, very clever elven magic to disguise ourselves for all our concerts. It's actually happened a few times now where we've made slight little minor tweaks and mistakes, and really hardcore fans, probably like yourself by the sounds of it, have noticed these and thought we went for plastic surgery or something, which is entirely inaccurate. We would never need such things. Our magic is far superior to anything surgery can do. Misty is just taken aback, and they help her to sit down. They invite Cloud to sit down as well, ask if they wish for refreshments. Very, very welcoming. And both Cloud and Misty look at them and say, "Why are you being so kind to us? I mean, aren't you, society's elite? We're nobodies." And one of them turns around. I believe this could be RM, not entirely sure. He looks very different in his elven form. He just turns around and says with a small chuckle, "Well, if anyone else could recognize us for who we really are, maybe we'd have to start classifying them. but not even our manager knows. So I mean, you're kind of special. And certainly, maybe society would see you as nobodies, but we see you as very special people who can truly see us for who we are without judging the difference. Cloud just looks at them and says thank you with a very soft voice. Oh, don't be shy. We might look like this. We might be elves and come from quite interesting backgrounds. But in our society, we're not anything more special. It's just we decided to go to the human world and really try and make a name for ourselves, and surprisingly it worked. It actually worked brilliantly. I mean, honestly, I never thought I would end up with this sort of fame. It's quite crazy. I mean, certainly there are other elves out in the entertainment world, but not that many. You'd actually be surprised at how many humans are able to really become famous, even without our magic and very impressive illusions. He doesn't really seem to have much of an, self-image problem, let's put it that way. But he's also not talking with too much ego. It's almost as if it's just matter of fact that elves have this appearance and that's just how it is. And he continues going and just simply says, well, a lot of people look at us differently, strangely maybe. But at the same time, they only know us as the famous Seven, the famous BTS, which by the way is actually a huge joke. Misty looks up at this. A joke? What do you mean it's a joke? Well, you see, there's the human meaning of it, which I'm sure you know. And then there's the real meaning of it, which is literally just Big Tree Sylvans, aka Big Tree Elves, as in the elves from the big tree. We didn't even think. I mean, it was so silly, we just had to. That's the original meaning behind our name. Misty just, holds down a chuckle. Are you serious? Big tree? Really? Like, as just a large tree? Well, yeah, we're elves. I mean, what did you expect us to go for? Says one of the other members somewhere in the back. I mean, I'm just a little bit surprised. I would have thought you guys would have gone for something, more impressive. At least replace the big for best. Maybe. I don't know. 3 of the different members look at each other and smile wildly. You know what? That's actually a brilliant idea. Maybe we should do that. Let's change the name in the registry to Best Tree Sylvans. That actually sounds really cool. Thank you. Oh, wow. Where are my manners? Boys, did none of you realize we didn't even ask for their names? What are we? We're really bad hosts, that's for sure. I mean, sure, we gave them refreshments, but we didn't even ask their names. So, who are you? Cloud introduces himself, so does Misty. And how do you know about, this world? Then they go through explaining the whole encounter with the dragon and so on. And once they're done explaining, the boys are just smiling, saying, well, that was as good of an introduction as you would ever get. And honestly, you guys seem like really cool people. You're always welcome to come back here if you want to. I mean, it's not like we're always here. You know how the showbiz goes. We kind of have to travel and things, but you're definitely more than welcome to come. And, by the seams of your reactions, Misty, you seem like a really big fan of our music. So, how about this? Why don't you give me your phone number? And, well, actually, phone number is plural. And when we have a concert, we'll just send you VIP tickets every time. Then, if you happen to be able to come, then just do. Why not? It doesn't happen every day that we get to meet people who can actually really see us. And also just recognize us, which was honestly quite scary, I have to admit. But yeah, it would be lovely. It would be lovely to see you guys again and, find out what you're doing in the world. Oh, and I was wondering, it seems you discovered this world. Have you decided to learn anything? Magic or one of the major trades? Well, yeah, actually, we're learning magic, says Misty. Oh, brilliant. Well, why don't I give you some lessons then? I happen to be our lead mage, actually. I cast all the illusion spells for our physical appearances. Oh, wow, that would be lovely. I mean, can I even learn elven magic? What do you mean, elven magic? All magic is the same, it's just ours happens to be very powerful, that's all. But sure, of course you can learn it. To this, she just smiles and nods. And so begins probably one of the most interesting and publicly impossible magic classes you've ever heard of. Just imagine that. 2 complete nobodies getting taught magic by probably not only one of the most famous, but also one of the most powerful mages in the whole world. How cool. Now, if you would like to hear more of these stories, don't forget to follow, and subscribe in any way you can. You can find out more of all the tales through Kumiho_Merlin on Instagram, and you can also find me simply by typing merlingideon.com on the internet. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.